This is BBC News. I'm Janet Gadgill. Russia has launched missile strikes across Ukraine, hitting residential areas as well as energy infrastructure, plunging much of the country into an emergency blackout. At least 5 people were killed and dozens injured when an apartment building was struck on Saturday in the city of Dnipro. According to the regional governor, several children were among those hurt. Our correspondent Paul Adams is in Dnipro with the latest.
This was one of the worst attacks here in Dnipro in many months. We don't know what Russia was aiming at or even exactly what caused the damage. But whatever it was, a Russian missile or perhaps something intercepted overhead by Ukrainian air defense, it tore into this apartment building, carving a great gaping hole. As you can see, rescue workers and volunteers worked frantically for hours trying to find survivors. But as night fell, the official number of those killed or injured began to rise inexorably. Sirens did sound several times during the afternoon here in Dnipro. People were advised to go to their shelters, but it's been months since something like this happened here, so it's likely that plenty of people were in their apartments, not underground. This all came on a day when Russia once again launched attacks all over Ukraine, clearly aimed at disabling the country's power grid. With a piece of the country's energy infrastructure not that far from here, it's possible that and not the apartment block was the target of this strike. But it's been 2 weeks since the last wave of Russian attacks on critical infrastructure, and people here and in the West had started to wonder if Russia might be running out of missiles or thinking of changing its strategy. It seems there weren't quite so many missiles this time, perhaps less than 40. But it's clear tonight that Russia has not changed its strategy and seems intent, for now, on causing maximum hardship for Ukraine's civilians whenever and wherever it can.
China has admitted there have been 60,000 COVID-related deaths in just over a month following the government's sudden decision to end strict pandemic controls. It's the first time Beijing has acknowledged the scale of the fatalities caused by the COVID wave sweeping the country. For weeks, it's reported just a handful of deaths a day. The White House has confirmed 5 additional pages of classified information have been found at US President Joe Biden's family home in Delaware. His legal team acknowledged it had uncovered the documents relating to his time as vice president just hours after a statement on Thursday about the discovery of one document in a storage area at his Wilmington home. Additional classified materials were identified at a former office used during the 2020 presidential campaign. An independent lawyer has been appointed to investigate. Our North America correspondent David Willis has the latest on how Joe Biden's political opponents have reacted.
If you're a Democrat or you're in the White House at the moment, this drip of allegations is just embarrassing. The gift that keeps giving, though, for Republicans, it has to be said, and they've seized on this, as you can imagine. The White House is trying to draw a distinction between the documents that were found in Mar-a-Lago, for example, and those that were discovered at Joe Biden's residence and a former office. They're saying that President Biden has voluntarily handed over all these classified documents and has sought to cooperate fully with government investigators, as distinct from Donald Trump's behavior, and he had to basically be coerced into parting with hundreds of classified documents that were found in a raid by the FBI on his Florida residence, Mar-a-Lago. But as I say, it is this drip that keeps coming up and keeps embarrassing President Biden. It's preoccupied his agenda over the course of the last week, certainly as far as the media is concerned here. It's a very serious matter, all this. The Presidential Records Act maintains that emails, documents, letters and all sorts of things relating to a presidential run in office should be handed over to the National Archives and be stored for the public's use in the future. This is not something that can be taken away and basically kept in storage facilities or in cars or residences when people leave office. So there is currently a special investigator looking into the behaviour both of Donald Trump in this regard and that of Joe Biden.
You're watching BBC News.